Top NECA TMNT Universal Monsters figures we hope to see, Part 1. We're looking for a few good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters mashup figures. Hi everybody, and welcome to SpeekyGeeky. As always, I am Mr. Geeky. Today, we are going to be imagining and discussing possible NECA Universal Monster figures we hope to see in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy line. Okay, let's just dive into this one, shall we? During their 31 Nights of Fright reveals event in 2022, NECA did the unthinkable and totally caught us off guard. We had trained our brain to expect new Gargoyles reveals, some new classic horror figures, which they absolutely did, and perhaps even some new Fred Wolf animated TMNT reveals. But what we didn't expect was to be treated to a brand new TMNT line reveal in the form of their wholly original Universal Monsters TMNT toy line. Even more, we had assumed if we ever did get Universal Monsters iterations from NECA, it would simply be updated to the versions we got through the classic Playmates line all those years ago. But nope, in true NECA fashion, they took our expectations and said, we'll do you one better. So instead, we got a brand spanking new iteration of Raph as Frankenstein and Leo as Igor the Assistant, followed at a breakneck pace with a diverse variety of the rest of the bros in the forms of Mummy Mike, Invisible Man Donatello, Creature Leonardo, Wolfman Raph, some of their allies with Bride of Frankenstein April, Phantom of the Opera Casey, and Van Helsing Splinter, as well as a long-rumored Dracula Shredder. So beautiful, and so many questions. First off, we need to call out beauty where we see it and give incredible props to the way they revealed Frank and Raph. And every new reveal since, with an absolutely mind-blowing new stop-motion animation by DM Galloway. We thought there was no way to top the stunning Gargoyles stop-motion from earlier, but boy howdy were we wrong. Alright, so we have lots of initial questions, which we are sure to get in due time, and a few of them are already coming to light in real time. Like, will this be a straight-up update to the original Playmates Universal Monsters line? Which got a quicker answer than we were expecting, with the reveal of Igor Leo in a resounding nope. This is some brand new territory we are entering into, full of characters we have never seen. As part of SpeekyGeeky's exclusive interview series with NECA TMNT brand manager Trevor Zammit, Trevor intimated that it was very possible that not only would we be seeing the Turtle Bros and their close allies in Universal Monsters mashup form, but we might for the very first time be seeing what some expanded roster could look like in that live-action Jim Henson-inspired Muppety form. Be sure to stick around after the deep dive for an excerpt of that exciting Universal Monsters conversation, or you can watch that entire episode here. So, not only will we be getting the Turtles proper, but we can also expect to see an entire line that includes new mashups of supporting characters as well. As always, this immediately got our brains running overtime with all the possibilities that we now might be able to see, and we figured we'd jump into a handful of options that may now be on the table that we hope to see with the line. So join us now for part 1 of the NECA Universal Monsters TMNT figures we hope to see. Number 1. A mashup of Wingnut, Screwloose, and Dracula, which we like to call Bloodsuckers from HUANU. What could be better than a masterfully sculpted rendition of our favorite alien bat and mosquito anthropomorphic dynamic duo from NECA? Fangs. Obviously, this coupling seems a natural, though technically, we have never seen Wingnut or Screwloose feast on any of our favorite mutants' blood. Feels like one of those unspoken things where we kind of already assume they do. So infusing them with the Dracula motif and bursting out of a well-manicured tuxedo seems like it was really something that was a long time coming. We are imagining Wingnut as pulling his appearance from a Bram Stoker-like Dracula motif, with his wings laying flat and inward turned to give the appearance of a flowing red velvet cape, and Screwloose taking on the appearance of classic Nosferatu, who we like to think might be called something like NOSFERA-SCREW. If NECA really wants to go the extra mile with this one, an extra head with a hypnotic stare and in-scale big and tiny coffins would be an incredible touch. Number 2, a mashup of Casey and Friday the 13th. Which we like to call Masked Killer Casey. Okay, so maybe, just maybe, this is perhaps our sneaky way of finally being able to get a body count version of Casey with that stylistically different and quantifiably more terrifying hockey mask. But the notion of a hockey mask vigilante paired with a hockey mask serial killer seems a bit of a no-brainer. We see Casey wielding a hockey stick / machete hybrid weapon, some decapitated turtle heads, and perhaps some severed feet of the foot as accessories, as well as a second masked charred head Casey. And we're ready to get this masked monster maniac onto our shelves. Number 3, Monsterex. Call us dreamers, but ever since we laid eyes on this amalgamation of all the classic Universal monsters when they were first appeared in Archie Comics TMNT Adventures, we've been patiently looking and waiting for the right opportunity for the triumphant return in toy form. And yes, we are aware of the hero clicks, but we're talking fully articulated, massive toy on our shelf. Maybe it's because we're such huge fans of Sesame Street's two-headed monster and Masters of the Universe's Too Bad that the idea of another two-headed mutant is just the natural next thing to check off on our double-headed scavenger hunt. But we also just love the idea of all the villainy and terror of the classics wrapped into one incredible character. We realize that this line is largely wholly original mashups, but we can say confidently that even though we have seen this awesome character in comic form, we most certainly have never seen the mad geniuses at work with NECA take a shot at reinventing a character so outrageously fun, and also seemingly like he would check many of their creative boxes as well, where they might more realistically be up for the creative challenge. Number 4, a mashup of April and the creature from the Black Lagoon, who we like to call Reporter from the Green Lagoon, aka Fish Mutant April from the Fred Wolf animated cartoon. Call us sneaky geeky, because we are just doing our darndest with this line to find logical places to bring in characters from the TMNT world we might just not have seen otherwise. This version of April, to us, makes a whole lot of sense in that it is already Fred Wolf animation canon, and is a version of April that a whole bunch of folks might already wish existed. This more stylized version may end up being a bit more Lagoon monstery than Fred Wolf cartoony than we might prefer, but let's cross that lagoon once we get there. In the meantime, we'll just be excited to potentially get a version of a character we thought was lost to the depths up until now. And we are thrilled by the possibility of the character being toweled off and peeking its scaly head back above water. Number 5, a mashup of Leatherhead, Krang, and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who we like to call Leathercide. Putting the hilarity of combining these characters and the absurdity of Leatherhead wearing another stretched face over his own, when we take a beat to think this through for just a moment, we realize that there is an actual bona fide horror origin story here. Let's walk this super schlocky elevator pitch through for a moment. A mutant gator is taken from his family and home by alien Utrons, who experiment on him to the point of madness and wipe out his family in the process. He escapes and forges a plot of revenge upon the aliens who wronged him. Last House on the Left, The Crow, or Deliverance style. And wears the skin of the first Ultram he kills as a giant neon sign of why he's doing it, and to let the rest know that he's coming for them too. And now, instead of just getting this fun figure, we really want to see this film as well. So yeah, you ready to do this? This one could come loaded with various Ultram carcass goodies, much like you would make out of alligator skin, like a blood-stained apron, wallet, shoes, belt, and a briefcase to hold it all in. He could also come with an electric chainsaw with alligator tooth blades, a meat tenderizer, and an oversized scalpel. Number 6, a mashup of Krang and the Thing that we like to call the AMYGDALA. If you're anything like our parents, you may have already been referring to Krang as, "What is that thing?" for years anyways. So it seems only fitting that he could live up to the name, and we get the added benefit of having a living brain that's bigger, squishier, and more gruesome than ever before. We imagine it as an all-out Akira Tetsuo mutation-inspired looking thing. Krang on steroids, plus a gnarly mouth full of razor-sharp teeth and spider-like legs instead of a bubble walker. If NECA really got creative with this, we might also see the new form resembling a mix between a heavy radiation-exposed Krang and his android body, covered head to toe in creepy brain outside his body-like goodness. There are also some incredibly talented TMNT customizers for putting out some incredibly imaginative and creative figures. And it is a beautiful thing to see. Here are just a few of those absolutely creative folks that you are definitely going to want to keep up with, so make sure to follow them on their socials as well. Well, that's it for part 1. We appreciate you stopping by and nerding out with us for a bit. We imagine you'll have some characters at top your list too, so feel free to join the discussion in the comments below. Make sure to keep your eyes peeled to SpeekyGeeky, because part 2 of this continuing Monster Mashup series is lurking right around the corner. And if you haven't already, make sure to sub up, give the video a like, and share with anyone you know who appreciates these types of videos. Also, make sure to check out the description for additional links that lead to some similar expanded content we think you'll also probably enjoy quite a bit. We realize you could have gone anywhere and you chose to nerd out with us, and we appreciate that. So, as always, I am Mr. Geeky, and until we next mutant monster mash speaky, keep it geeky.
Run.
I think last time we talked, you said there was, I think, like 8 sculpted figures from the Universal Monsters. Going off of fan excitement, right? You know, we'll see how people flock to it. And the thing is like, this is really good reception. Everywhere I'm hearing is, you know, and also my own experience with it is that they're great figures. So has that number swelled a little bit from the last time we talked?
There are more figures now than I think from last time we had spoken. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, the line is continuing. Everyone at work, like, we're all still excited about these things, and you know, we want to make more, and yeah, we're working. There's a few more figures that we've got in the works right now, so that line is continuing. And
I mean, you were saying too that with this line there's a lot more ability for creative freedom here, where it's kind of just like, can it be pretty expansive in terms of the scope of characters that we could be seeing here, or is there a cutoff for what you're allowing into this line?
No, I don't like to do cutoffs on stuff, because it's, especially on a line like this where there is so much creative freedom and you can sort of really, you know, kind of test the limits of what's possible. Like, it's too much fun to just be like, well, we did those, we're done with it, just move on to something else. So yeah, there's a couple of them that we're working on right now. I do think they're not like super crazy, I don't think, but they're definitely cool and maybe slightly unusual. And so we'll see how those do, and if those are good, maybe we'll do a couple crazier, weirder or something. I don't think there really needs to be any limitations, really.
Yeah, so there isn't, the characters don't need to, even though they're quasi based off of the Henson feel from the you know, from the movies, they don't need to have been in a movie to necessarily be in this line, correct?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, because I saw on the Phantom of the Opera Casey, for example, and I don't know, maybe this is just my mind playing tricks on me, but the glove appeared to be Mondo Gecko-y in a sense.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe that was just me seeing what I wanted to see.
Yeah. Who can say? Yeah.
But I mean, I guess a follow-up question to that would be, could we in theory see, you know, throughout the different iterations of TMNT, there are horror-like characters, right? So in theory, could we ever see in this line something that's more horror-based that exists elsewhere within the different worlds, or does it have to be like a mashup of sorts? Like, for instance, a good example might be Worm, or might be Inardo, or Bloodsucker. Right, there's some characters here that are like,
yeah, there's already some spooky, weird, creepy characters. So yeah, like half the work is kind of done for you, I guess. Those could be cool things to mess around with, and even if it only sort of kind of works, you know, you kind of find a way to like fit it in. You know, it's just fun to be like world building with this stuff.
I mean, I'm just trying to get parameter here in terms of like, you know, if it's like, no, this will be, for instance, like some of those were Archie based characters, right? Like Monsterex, right? That's to me feels like, oh wow, that's a mashup of a whole lot of those monsters right there, but it just within the Archie. So would that be relegated to still be in the world of Archie, or could a universal monster-y kind of look Monsterex be here's, you know?
I mean, it could, you know, now that we're actually doing like Archie figures, I'd probably think like he might just be a better fit right now. Like if there's no other way to make like Monsterex, I'd be like, oh, maybe we could put him in this universal mashup horror line. But you know, a character like that specifically, I'd say like he would probably end up being an Archie character before he became a movie like Henson suit kind of a horror movie.